Just start recording the meeting for the benefit of everyone. All right, so let's just get
Hi,
started.
bro. How are you?
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm fine. It's Terence here from Zim.
Awesome. Great having you here, man. Great having you here.
Yeah, thank you so much. You can continue the presentation. We are waiting. Thank you so much.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so just to quickly introduce myself, I think the small majority of people that are here, they've, they either know me, they've heard me speak on like MPOW conferences, or you've never met me before. So my name is Nigel, Nigel Nyajeka. I'm from Zimbabwe. I did my bachelor's and master's degree in economics from the University of Zimbabwe. So a big shout out to everyone who's from UZ, especially those that did econ, that do know me, Dr. Mbengegwi, that know Desmond Dedzu and everyone. So from there, when I completed my bachelor's and master's degree, I then transitioned to the US.
For what? Oh my goodness. There's so many people. Get out of my way. Hey, Nico. One sec. Oh gosh, Nico seems busy right now. Okay, come on. Here, 2 burgers and some french fries.
All right. Sorry, I just muted Tinoimbo. All right. So fantastic. So just to continue, I'm currently doing my master's in business analytics at George Washington University, and that's in Washington, D.C. So for those that just saw the post in the group, or they got their hands on the desk on the guide that I was circulating either on LinkedIn or in the WhatsApp group. The whole purpose of this meeting is to help out someone who was like me a couple of years ago. I remember by the time I finished my undergrad, I was like, man, I need to go and expand my knowledge in the US. Like I was so committed to coming here. But then there was just one big problem. Like I did not understand how to do it. Like I did not know where to start. I think like most people, and it's a trend that I've noticed in like different people that I've spoken to, almost everyone gets to the point where they want funding and they can't get it. And that becomes the greatest challenge. So it was until a point that I then identified that, you know what? There are alternatives to like graduate education funding in the US because those scholarships for those that don't.
Nigel, I think there's a hand up.
Sorry, what?
I think there's a hand up.
Oh, there's a hand up. No, just if you have any question, you can just interrupt me at any time and ask your question. So if anyone has their hand up, you can go ahead and ask your question. And before I continue, because I'm gonna give like over 30 minutes of question and answers. So if you have a question, I think the best way is to put your question on the question and answer. I hope you can see the question and answer tab. Then you can just put in your question. Then once I'm done with the introduction and giving context to everyone who's super curious on what this is, then we can then go over all the questions and just and then sorry, I can see in the chat. Sorry, don't seem to be able to hear anyone. Still not hearing any audio. Is it just me facing this issue? Everyone else can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can. All right.
Yes, we can hear you.
So
Yes.
Takuzwa, I don't know what's going on with your audio. I think maybe just try to disconnect and reconnect. That'll probably fix the issue. All right. All right. So let me just continue then. I'll by I think 3:30 or just 15 minutes of introductions and giving context, then we can start answering questions because I know the greatest value in this session has to be through question and answers. And I know that a lot of you have so many questions, so many doubts, and we'll answer them through question and answers. Right. So what was I talking about? I was saying that scholarships were the norm to come to the US. And that's fantastic, right? If you are a 20-point student, or if you are those 25-point students, or you are the book prize first class in your school, that becomes really easy. Like in my case, I was not the book prize in my class. So that means when I was applying a lot of these scholarships, they're highly competitive. Oftentimes they're looking for, either one person or they're looking for two people. So I remember I had a whole 4 years of applying to different scholarships. One big one that I was targeting was the MasterCard Scholarship from MasterCard Scholars Foundation Scholarship. And I applied that thing for 4 years. I mean, I started volunteering, started leading an environmental organization so that maybe, I could get a chance. Unfortunately, I couldn't. Right. But then I think in 2020, I think during the peak of the pandemic, that's when I discovered an organization called Empower Financing. All right. And, I was it's just been a really a humbling experience because they ended up making me their first global ambassador to help a lot of international students. But that company really changed the game for me, or a lot of other people that are already here in Washington, D.C., or, Tafara was in South Bend, Indiana, and a whole bunch of people, Zimbabweans that I had at Georgetown, colleagues at Columbia. It was because Empower really bridged the gap with funding. So I'm going to be talking about that in more detail later on, and because that's where the key is, basically, right? So after getting the Empower funding, it covered all my tuition, it covered my living expenses until I got my visa, and then I ended up here. So basically what I'm saying is the opportunity is there for those that are dedicated to leveraging it. I can see a lot of people join the group. It means everyone is dedicated. So the next thing is to get started, right? And you can probably ask me that, okay, Nigel, I mean, I know there's graduate education, there are different thousands and thousands of universities in the US, and how do I choose the right program, or how do I choose the right university for my studies, right? So that's the first thing that I'm going to be talking about, right? So I think all of our journeys start on Google, right? The US has thousands and thousands of different universities, but the best university and the best program for you, it depends on your own personal goals with regards to your career. I know you may probably have, you may have other people that want to, come and start their program because, they want that additional certificate. But the greatest encouragement that I give people is think about your job when you graduate in order for you to choose the right program. Let me just give a quick example, right? So I'm in Washington, D.C., right? And, there are a lot of people that have, goals to work for the IMF, to work for the World Bank, to work for the IFC. So you can see that from my school, or from where I stay, like actually from my school, it's a 10-minute walk to the World Bank, right? It's a 10-minute walk to the IFC. It's a 10-minute walk to the IMF, right? So what I then say is, when you're choosing a university and you're targeting that particular niche of industry, the best way is to consider a university that's in Washington, D.C., right? Because it gives you great opportunities for you to network. And then there are other universities, for example, NYU. That university is in New York, right? There is Cornell, it's in New York. There's Columbia in Manhattan, right? So these schools are close to the world's greatest financial center in New York. So those are things that you also have to consider. But I'm not saying that, location is the only limitation that can limit you, because we can have other incredible schools like where Tafari is, that's in South Bend, Indiana. There is no IMF in South Bend, Indiana, or whatever, but that's an incredible school, right? So after that, what you then do is you go on their websites. I think I'll probably try to, because as I was contemplating on how to do this session, I was kind of thinking of doing slides, but then I felt that, it's important to make it as real as possible. can you guys see my screen? Like, can you see my browser so that I can give a really practical
Yes,
example?
it's
Yeah,
now
yeah,
visible.
So
it's
which screen are
visible.
you
Yeah.
seeing? Are you seeing the one with the CT or you're seeing my other screen?
We are seeing the one with the city.
The one with the CT. All right, that's fine.
Yes.
All right. So that means you can see my Google page, correct?
Yes.
Right. So let's just use a simple example, right? Let me use Carnegie Mellon University, right? This is just a random example that I'm giving. I felt it important to, do this practical thing because oftentimes we have those slides and then, when someone tries to do it on their own, it's a completely different product, right? So you're going to notice that each university in the US, they have these incredible websites, right? So these websites have a gajillion amount of information that you can leverage for yourself. Let's just come here where it's saying recruiters and partners, right? Then let's say, let me see right here. Let me say MBA recruiting.
Okay, so hi, Nigel.
Yes, I can hear you.
So we are just seeing the Google homepage. We are not seeing the screen you are working on right now.
Oh, you can see the Google homepage alone. Give me a split second. Let me see what is going on. Let me stop sharing. Oh yeah, it's a desktop number 2. That's fine. So can you see this now?
Just yes, yes.
Fantastic, fantastic. Sorry for that. I mean, it was so I'm sharing 2 screens. Right. So when you then go, for those that didn't see, let me just do back, 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 back. So this is the homepage of Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, right? So I was saying that if you go on the school's website, there are so many reports, and this can be a benchmark for you to choose the right program. So for example, at Tepa Business School, I'm just going to go on recruiters and partners, right? Then when I scroll down, I'm going to check out give me a second, recruiters and partners. I click the employment report, right? So then we say MBA recruiting. Then you go to employment statistics, right? Then you can probably download this statistic. This is for the past years. Let me just say employment data, and I click this. Right. So if you go through this document, you're going to see a lot of important, useful information that relates to the history of, people that graduated from the same university, right? So when you then go to this page, right, you can see that the full-time graduating MBA class of 2022, compensation by professional function, right? So you can just see that from this program, from this school, 52 people went to consulting, 18 went to finance, 14 to general management, IS/IT 1, marketing people 28, POM there were 8, other there was 7, total reporting 128. You will see the mean base salaries for all these people that went to, that graduated from the MBA class, right? So let's just check out this particular number here. I'm just choosing a random example, right? So you're checking out the university and then you see that one person went to IT. This automatically shows you that CMU is an incredible school, but maybe not for someone who wants to do IT, right? Because only one person went there. Or maybe I can see the I/D, whatever it probably means. Maybe it was not reported, that type of thing. Or you can then come here, right? Graduating class accepting from consulting, from consumer products, energy, financial services, want real estate technology, da, da, da. So what I'm just saying from this example is to just bring your mind to, is just to bring your mind towards the idea that use those reports, use these websites to get a more comprehensive understanding of what the university is all about, the number of people that they are sending into different particular industries, so that you can make a more informed decision on which particular program to choose, right? So after saying that, let's just go back to the whole issue of, program selection, right? As international students, we're going to be joining the F1 visa category. So for those that don't know what that is, that are just hearing this for the first time, like, okay, what's F1 visa? So when you're coming to the US as a student, and you are then, granted an F1 visa so that you'll be allowed to come and study in the US, right? So when you're given that F1 visa, it's usually valid for the duration of your program, right? So let's say your program is a 2-year program, right? By the time you finish your program in the 2nd year, they'll give you 90 days to leave the country, unless if you sign an employment offer. And when you graduate, you'll be put on what they call optical practical training, and that's OPT, and that's for 1 year. So if you go on OPT for 1 year, and then you start working for a year, and then when you graduate, when you finish that OPT, you somehow don't either get the H-1B. The H-1B, that's the normal working visa, far beyond the student visa. If you don't get it after the year, it means they're going to ask you to return back home. I know people have different goals. A lot of people may want to go back to Zimbabwe after they're done. Maybe you have this incredible business idea that you want to execute in Zimbabwe, and you see a great opportunity that when you come back home, you would want to, go back. But a lot of the people that I've spoken to, their long-term goal is to, kind of work in the US for quite some time. That's why it then becomes important to focus on programs that are designated as STEM. So for those that are not sure what STEM is, I think you probably have known, is the science, technology, engineering, and math programs, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go and study biology, or you have to go and study chemistry, or you need to study physics for you to come to the US, right? A lot of the business programs, or even traditionally social science programs, they're also incorporating STEM designation in their programs, right? So the benefit with choosing a STEM program is this, right? So when you do your OPT, which is the 1 year post-graduation, you have finished your program, right? And you're left with, you've just graduated, you've just gone on your OPT for 1 year. Let's say your company agrees to put you on the H-1B lottery, and then you don't get it the first year, right? What STEM benefits is that you'll be allowed to stay additional 2 more years just because you've studied for a STEM program. So what that will mean is if you pursue something that's STEM designated, you have 3 years before still on the student visa. So that means more time for you to build rapport with your current company, or more opportunities to participate in the H-1B lottery, and then hopefully find a company that's willing to sponsor you, and then keep you around until you get your green card. So these are some of the considerations that we all need to think about as we're thinking about which program we want to pursue into, because that's a very important point. Because if you do a non-STEM program and then you don't get the H-1B, you probably want to stay around, but you can't. They'll end up asking you to come back home, right? So that's a little bit on program selection. Let me just check the time to see. All right, I have about a few more minutes to explain before getting to questions. So that's just about it. You have chosen your program, you have gone on Google. Other useful resources are going to be things like US News. Let me just quickly share my screen for you to see what I'm talking about. All right, US News, share the screen. Right, can you all see my screen now?
Yes, Major, you can see it.
Let's just go there. Then we click. So US News will rank the top universities in the US. Number one at this point is Chicago, University of Chicago Booth. Second one is Northwestern University, Kellogg, University of Pennsylvania. Moore just joined this. She's doing the MBA there. MIT, Harvard, Dartmouth, This is a good resource to use if you are a rankings type of person. But don't worry if your school is not in the top 10 in the US. It doesn't matter, right? So I'm at George Washington University. It's not in the Ivy League. It's not even the best school in the US. But when I was working I interned for Deloitte in the summer. I was working with students from Ivy League schools. We have the same bosses. We are working the same job. So don't be confined to the particular university as your limitation. Because oftentimes, even these highly ranked ones are really competitive. But I'm not saying you will not get in. I know in Zim, we have a lot of bright students that can easily get into Harvard, right? So this can be a useful tool to use. But then for those that have seen the document or the guide that I've been sharing in the group, you're going to see that I put out a couple of, let me see if I can get a hold of it. I put out a couple of schools that I've just been suggesting. And like I say, this is my own suggestion because these schools, I was, targeting them when I was applying. So I kind of know that, they have either reasonable admission processes or they have GRE waivers. So for those that don't know what GRE is, that's an examination that you may be, not every school and not every program, but mainly for those that are into highly technical and, the MBAs and stuff. Some schools may require your GRE. But a couple of these that I have here, they have GRE waivers. So I've just this basic foundational list of 19 universities that I know that you can probably just try out. The links, you can just click, and then it will take you to the website, and then you start applying. So I've had someone reach out to me and ask me that, hey, Nigel, I've been trying to apply for the program, and I don't know how to do it. Like if I go on the website, I don't even understand where to start, right? So when you go on a website, give me a second. When you go on any program website, let me just use my school as an example. So when you just, all right, give me a second. What's going on? All right. Awesome. So when you go on any school program, like this is my incredible and wonderful school, GW. Those that want to apply to this one can probably come on board. We've built an incredible Zimbabwean community here. Go and choose any program, like any school that you want, right? You can just simply see that we have this apply button, right? Click the apply button. It will take you on this admissions page. You can review a little bit of the some details. Then you can click find your program. Then mostly masters people. And let's say you want econ. Then you click on econ, go to the program website. There's an apply now, apply to GW button. Then you click. This thing is taking a little bit of time to get to the application page. Let's see. Application requirements. So like Oh man, I don't know how to click. I don't know where to apply now. Yeah, fantastic. Here we are. Then once you get to this apply page, you can then sign up. And then you put your name, your email address, and then you're good to go. Most times they'll ask you for your personal information. It's not even difficult, right? It'll ask you for your personal information. It'll ask you where you started, where you were working. It'll ask you to upload your resume, and they'll definitely ask you to, put in the statement of purpose and essays, right? So always make sure that these ones are helping you stand out. I know right now we have incredible tools like ChatGPT and Claude, Bard, that can, review the essays for you after you have written it. But please don't make the mistake of just going to a website, on ChatGPT's website, asking ChatGPT to draft your essay, and then you submit it. What I suggest is draft your essay, make it original to you as a person and original to your own story. And then once you have made it unique to your own story, you then get to the points where you just put it on ChatGPT to just help you out with the grammar. Because I know, we tend to make a little bit of mistakes in our applications, right? In our, when we're typing, in our grammar, whatever. But just make sure that, it's original, it's showing you unique ideas, and it's showing you unique potential and your capability to succeed in a demanding master's program in the US. The whole idea that, you are from Zimbabwe or you're African, it stands as an advantage because, these universities, they want diversity, right? They want Nigel to come into the classroom, meet with those amazing people from India, from the US, from China, from Europe. We meet together, and I'm talking about how I bought bread with $2 trillion in 2008. Those are unique things that are unique to me that they will never get from someone else who's from a different country. So the mere fact that you're not from here, it's an advantage, right? So once you start your application, you've made yourself look good in the essays, you've showed your, potential. For some of you here, you have incredible working experience, right? You may have people that have been working as managers for like 5 years, 10 years. It's so easy to get into these programs while you were, with such an incredible working experience. And then from those that are from a business background, I was speaking to Righteous, he works in Wall Street, in investment banking, and he told me that he's a big fan of the MBA. And for those, he was just encouraging that, everyone who has great working experience, target the MBA. Because unlike in Zimbabwe, you see that the US is different, right? You may have, a marketing background. A big shout out to those that are from marketing. My sister did marketing. It's an incredible area of specialization, right? But in the US, you don't need to study marketing to work in marketing, right? So if you go and pursue the MBA, that's probably the best chance, especially if you're in the business line, if you're in the marketing, if you want to go into consulting, if you want to go into finance, the MBA is the most rewarding program that you can aim for. But oftentimes they have these, limitations on working experience, and, they really need you to put your best foot forward. So, but the minimum working experience that they need, I know, is about 2 years. So if you have at least 2 years working experience, then you can do the MBA if you're targeting consulting, finance, and other business lines, because it's a really diverse line of business. And then there are those people like me who like data. I studied econ in Zimbabwe. I'm in the data science world, like I'm doing business analytics. That's a more data-centric approach. STEM and incredible opportunities. It can be applied into different industries. So someone else might be from social sciences who's like, hey man, I did social sciences. Does that mean I don't qualify? Should I not come to the US because I studied history? And does that mean I will not make it? STEM. It's an advantage if you have a STEM background, but that should not close you out. Because if you have history, you can come in, do your 1-year OPT. Guess what? A lot of companies are willing to sponsor people in their first year, right? You come in, they're like, oh man, we like you, Nigel, you're good. Let's give you an H-1B. You're already on your H-1B, you have sponsorship, even if you didn't study business. So the whole thing is look for what suits your preferences best, and you'll be good. Right. So then on the story of applications, just a few more minutes, then I'll take questions. On the story of applications, there is this incredibly important section of the applications, and that's the recommendation letters. Here in the US, recommendations are the order of the day. If someone recommends you, well, you most likely get that thing. So make sure that that recommendation letter that you're sending to your manager or supervisor, it's a good one, right? I'm not saying they shouldn't give an objective assessment of your personality, but I'm just saying that that part of the application is really powerful and will determine whether you get in or not. Even if you don't have incredible working experience, right? You've not been working for 10 years. But then, someone or your manager just says, you know what, Nigel is an incredible person. I worked with him for the past 2 years, or for the past year. He's dedicated. He's a go-getter. He's incredible. I recommend him for the program. That will go a long way into getting you into any of these incredible universities. Then once you have your recommendations done, your application is set, they'll ask you for an application fee. But oftentimes, a lot of these universities, especially the ones that are in the document that I suggested, these ones have application fee waivers, right? I know it can be such a nag just spending $85 to send in an application, especially when I encourage people not to apply for just one program. I remember when I applied to like 12 programs, if not 18. I was obsessed with it. So don't just apply to one school and you're done. Apply to 3 schools, right? Apply to 4 schools. If you have the time, apply to 5 schools, right? Once you get 5 offers, incredible, right? It depends with, the school and, the nature of the offer you get. But from the 5, you'd be surprised. You may have one school that gives you a full scholarship or one that gives you a 75% scholarship. And then the whole Empower financing loan becomes, you're not taking too much money as a loan, right? So from there, you'll be done, you get your offer, and you're set. So once you get your offer now from school, from each, the universities that you apply to, most US universities will give you what they call a merit-based scholarship. So a merit-based scholarship is a part scholarship of the entire tuition requirement, right? Let's say, for instance, your program is $50,000 for the entire program, right? And then your school comes on board and they say, okay, no, sweet. So we're giving you 50% scholarship. That means you have 25,000 that you will still need to pay for yourself, right? So that's when Empower financing comes into play, right? So what Empower financing will do is Empower financing will come in to say, okay, you've got 50% scholarship. You want 25,000? It's fine. We'll give you 25,000. How much money do you need for you to live on a day-to-day for the entire year in the US? Then it's probably 20,000. Like, all right, cool. We'll give you that 20. Let's just say 25,000 is a way of just working with whole numbers. Then that's a total of 50,000, right? So Empower will be like, okay, fine, we'll give you the 50,000. The good thing about the Empower Financing International Students Loan is they do not require collateral. So you're not going to be putting your house. You're not going to be putting your car. You're not going to be those situations when, debt collectors come and be like, hey, man, we're taking your house because you took a loan from us. No, they're called non-cosign and non-collateral loans. So these non-cosign and non-collateral loans, they have a payable duration of 12 years, and they're solely betting on your return on investment once you graduate. Let me just give you a quick example. I know, as Zimbabweans and as Africans, the whole loan thing is not our thing. Like, we don't like credit. We are just like, nah, I will use cash. But Empower Financing gives you $50,000, right? If you saw that report that I was checking out from Carnegie Mellon University, the average salary that they were talking about, the annual average salary was like $150,000 for certain industries that should be getting paid. You have a $50,000 loan. I think the interest rate when you graduate will probably be, depends with how much money you take. But if you take 80-something thousand, I know it will be about $1,000 every month. But if you're getting, let's say, 150,000, I'm not really a astute mathematician, but per annum after tax, per month after tax, that'll probably be like, I don't know, maybe 7,000 or 8,000 per month. $1,000 is going to pay your loan. Maybe you're staying in a $2,000 apartment, 2,000, 3,000. You need probably $1,000 for your day-to-day. 4,000, you are able to live on a month to month. So you can clearly see why an entire company is coming to someone from Zimbabwe that they've never met before. And they're saying, we're giving you $50,000 out of thin air. It sounds too good to be true. Like when I first saw Empower Finance, I thought it was a scam. Like, bro, who give you $50,000 of money and they're saying they'll give you as a loan? They will give you because they know that you're going to make a lot of money when you graduate, especially if you stay in the US. Right? But I know people have different goals, right? So when Empower Financing gives you that amount, what they will then do is they will then send that $50,000 directly to your school. It will be dispersed per each semester. So before you even get to school, they'll give you a visa support letter that you will use to go and get your visa, to say, okay, Nigel has all the requirements. He has all the money that he needs to finish his program. So this is the document that you first give your school. Then your school will give you a form that's called the I-20 form. This form is just a certificate of some sort saying, yeah, Nigel has all the money that he needs to start this program, and he's ready to start. Then you take that I-20 form and then you take it to the consular. Now, if you're in Zimbabwe, at Westgate, you then go and be like, okay, I'm ready to start. This is my admissions letter. This is my visa support letter from Empower. This is my I-20 from my school. I'm ready to start. They'll then ask you a few questions. We're going to have a separate session later on when we'll be talking mostly about the visa process. Because of time, I don't think we'll be able to cover that. It's a whole different story, and I'll be giving you a lot of tips on how to get your visa. Then once you get your visa, you're done. You buy your ticket, you fly in. So then Empower Financing will then send that $50,000, the remaining tuition. If you had a full scholarship, that's fine. You don't need a loan. You're good. You know until you get your offer letter whether you have a full scholarship or you have a partial scholarship or you don't have a scholarship. Usually what Empower offers you, they give a maximum of 100,000. So that means you're pretty much able to, afford almost any program. Right. So the 50,000 will be sent to your school. So my school will take 25,000 and then apply to your tuition. Then I'll be left with the 25,000 that I'm going to be using for my living expenses. Then I'll take that 25,000, then I'll go and pay rent for it. I'll buy my laptop for it. I'll probably buy a new phone if I need it. And then I'll start, catering for my food, right? So you will have all the money that you require for your studies. All you need to focus on is on your studies and your employment prospects. So from that point, you have started your program and you're ready to graduate. So that's just how the process starts from the point you start looking for your program and the point when you start the program. I know this is very concise. I've sped it up. There's a whole lot of things that's involved. So later on, I think when you start, we're going to be, I'm going to be helping out a lot of people, especially with their loan applications. Later on, I think I'll share how you can attach your application to me, because, you know, as ambassadors, we have this opportunity to go and say, okay, this person is applying, I referred him, you know, he's coming from me, can you expedite the process? Or if you're having any delays in your loan application, I'll be able to, you know, help with some of those things. So I can see a question, the interest rate is saying, interest is how much? The interest rate, the current interest rate is 12.99% interest, but that interest is subject to change. For those that may not know, the US has been having a lot of interest rate hikes, so the interest rate is pretty high. When I applied in 2020 or 2021, my interest rate was about 9%. So it's subject to change. All right, so I'll be taking questions now and just see. I think we have a question and answer tab. Can you confirm if you can see a question and answer tab? Or just use the chat, it's fine. So if you have a question, just use the chat. So the first one was on interest rate, and I think I have answered that one. And the next one is, can one get 2 study loans so as to cater for shortfalls? For instance, one loan to cover tuition and the other one to cater for living expenses. No, you don't need to separate the loans. All right. So the loans will be, for example, like given the example that I've just given, right? Your tuition shortfall will probably be like 25,000, right? And then your living expenses is 25,000. So the total cost you need is 50,000. And Empower will allow you to apply for loan up to 100,000. So you don't need to, you know, separate those 2 loans. You can just make it one. It's really convenient for everybody. You get it certified once and you'll be ready to continue. I hope that answers the question. Oh, that's Leonard. Hey, Leonard. All right, so Pritchard is saying, does a full scholarship cover air fees? No, unfortunately, scholarships, it depends with if you're on an external scholarship program, right? So let's say you apply for an external scholarship program like Rhodes, or I know Rhodes, that's for the UK, but the US also has, you know, certain, you know, external scholarships offered by different companies that will cater for your airfares, etc. But most ones that come from the school, they're just there for your tuition. The plane ticket cost is usually on you. And the tip that I usually give people is just ask your rich uncle to give you the 1,000. You have your Empower loan later on, so you can pretty much use it to cover your air fees. Right, but yeah, it will not cover air fees, just answering that. Right, so I think Lynn is saying, how do I apply for the loan from Zimbabwe? So the loan, you can apply it through a link. So that's just one thing that I wanted to also talk about. Right, so for Empower Financing to, you know, pin you to me on, you know, to say that, you know, this person was referred by Nigel, and you know, we kind of know him, all those things. They have what they call a referral program, and I think the referral program is available to everybody. It's not just limited to me, right? So what they do is, if I'm going to be helping you out with your loan, I'm going to send in a link in the group chat, in the WhatsApp group, that you can use to apply for your loan. So that's a unique link that it will have a code that attaches you to me. And then, later on, now then, they can see that, okay, now this person was referred by Nigel. And also as a courtesy, Empower will give you $100 gift card if you use that link. Or if you use a link and if you referred by someone, they'll give you $100. And I think for me, they'll give me like a gift card for like $300, which is nice, right? It'll be nice. I mean, it'll be a good courtesy for all the trouble that I will be going through moving the loans up. So if you apply, that link will be useful. You just click the link. Let me just give you a quick example. Let's see. Right. So give me a moment. I need to check something. See. So even if you are in Zim, you can then just use the link. Right, no, that's fine. I can't seem to locate the link now. Oh yeah, then I've got it. So when you click the link, let's say I click this link, right? So I've clicked it. The system automatically recognizes because you've used a link that's unique to me. It will take you to this page and then you just click start application. When you click start application, they'll start to ask you all these information. So that's how you do it from Zimbabwe. It's not restricted to location. You can still do it. And you then get your offer letter on. Right. It's possible to do a part-time job and at the same time studying. That's another question from Blessing team. Blessing. Yes, you can do it. But when you are still a student, they will allow you to work for 20 hours per week. They will allow you to work. So 20 hours per week, that's the maximum. I know we want to work a long time in Zim. I mean, we're dedicated. We want to work 100 hours per week if it's possible, so that we have a lot of money I need to send back to Zim, and just get more money. But you're limited to 20 hours when you're still a student. But when there are holidays and when if it's summer, when you're not taking any classes, it will allow you to work as many hours as possible. So yes, you are allowed. And the minimum wage in the US, I think the minimum, I know where I am in DC, that's around $15 an hour. So that means it's about 1,200 for your 20-hour work week. It's a good deal. It's a good deal. All right. When will I start to repay the loan? That's another question. Right. So the loan, Empower does this they have like two segments of your loan servicing program. So the first loan servicing program you started when you're a student, when you just get to the US and you've started, I think 45 days after you start. So 45 days after you start, what they will start, you start paying interest-only payments. You don't be paying for the principal, you just be paying interest. So the interest-only payment depends on how much interest you're being charged. But this can be $200, $250, or $300 a month. So you'll be paying that interest-only payment. But then when you graduate, they'll then give you 6 months until you start paying, including the principal. So that means you not immediately start paying the entire loan when you graduate. So interest-only payments once you're still a student, and then that's when getting a job becomes important. Or if you're still looking for a job, tip you still have a little bit of money dispersed already, right? You can use that as a means to invest to pay out the interest. I've done it successfully. My colleagues have done it successfully, so that shouldn't be a problem. Right. Then the next question is from Kaleem saying, I understand that MPOA is some small fee you pay monthly towards the student loan. I don't know how much is that. All right. I think they're asking the same question that I've answered. So yes, is it possible to find required part-time jobs? Yes. What are the chances to get a part-time job in the US and how much can you make? How much can you make? The average is $15 an hour. That's the minimum wage. But a lot of people can get the ones that get to $20 an hour or even more. How easy it is? What are the chances? Right? The chances, I cannot confidently say there are really, really high chances, you know, you're gonna get a job easy once you get here. It requires effort. And it also depends with the school that you're on. I think Tafara was at, Notre Dame. My big brother was at Notre Dame. Jobs were quite easy to get at Notre Dame. For other schools, you may need a little bit of more effort. So there's no one size fits all to this question. But if you can find it, it's foundable. I don't know if there's such English, but there's a possibility that you can get an on-campus job. How do I get application fee waiver from an institution? So you have two options. Number one, they can give you fee waivers if you attend their webinars and sessions. I know universities do this type of webinars that they'll have admissions people, and they'll be answering questions and they'll be describing processes, They usually then offer an application with fee waiver at the end of the day. Then secondly, if that school does not traditionally have an application fee waiver program through webinars, you can email them on email. Like you can send an email like, hey, I'm Nigel, I'm from Zimbabwe. The interest rates are a bit difficult. I've been trying to find foreign currency, things are not really going well. I'm requesting an application fee waiver. Oftentimes they'll give you. I've done that when I was applying and I was given that application fee waiver. Or they'll send it over email. Like GW, my school has been giving people application fee waivers. Those that are also applying to GW, I'll send you that application fee waiver on the group chat and you can use that and you don't need to pay. Right, what happens when I fail to get a job in the US after graduation? How will I repay the loan? Right, so if you fail to get a job in the US after graduation, we're not talking about worst case scenarios here. If by any chance you fail to get a job in the US, which is highly unlikely, but if there are chances that you just get to that point when you can't find something, then you really need to put your best foot forward in terms of getting some income going. So that's why I always encourage people to be proactive with getting employment. You will get employment if you're proactive. Like, it's not above and beyond for someone to get employment. They have a functional economy. They have a lot of vacancies. If you go on LinkedIn, I remember there was times that just one company, Amazon, was recruiting 100,000 people. One company. So there are a lot of employment opportunities around, but we're going to have a session later on. I think we're going to be inviting a lot of people that are in the US job market, a lot of those that are in investment banking, some of them that are in consulting. I think we'll take someone in technology as well. So I also speak with people that are in recruiting in top Zimbabweans are in recruiting in like really top organizations, and they will give you more tips on how to get employment. So there is no reason that someone should not find employment when the US is the most functional economy in the world, a lot of employment opportunities, and there shouldn't be a reason to get employment. And I'll also be talking about internships. I interned for Deloitte, incredible company, great global brand. And I'll be sharing tips, I think, in the next session on how I landed that job. It's a really interesting thing. We'll talk about that. So the ingenious is saying, don't they use an AI detector when you use ChatGPT to help you on essays? So most likely they're now going to use them to see if you are using an AI detector. That's why I was discouraging people from just flat out using ChatGPT to write their essays. Bring your own ideas into it, right? ChatGPT, an AI detector will say this thing was plagiarized from AI if everything was just developed by an AI, right? But if you're bringing your own ideas and just using it to help you with grammar and just a little bit of delivery, then it shouldn't be a problem. I know you are an ambassador for Empower Financing, low, but will there be other available funding opportunities you might be aware of? Empower is the best. I think that's all I can say. Empower is the best. And like I said, there are actually a whole bunch of other funding opportunities, and these are external scholarship opportunities that you can use, right? So if you go on each website, on each program, they will have like a funding page, like a financial aid page, and they will usually put in external scholarships that you can click and apply. I know there's a Black MBA scholarship program. That's an external one. So if you can find an external scholarship program, it will save you from the loan, right? If you get the scholarship, full funding, first level, partial funding, second level, but scholarships just go there. You won't be taking any loan, right? If your scholarship is taking care of everything, then don't go the loan route, right? The loan is the contingency for those that have not been able to get full funding. So yeah, available funding options you might be aware of. I think I've answered that. What comes first, application for admission or the loan? So the first thing that starts is the application for admission, right? You need to get to a point where you have an offer and then you see how much you're falling short. That will come after the admission. So you really need to start applying. Then when you apply and when you're done applying and when you have an offer, you then reach out to me and then, I'll then start to give you those links. And then I give you the link, use the link, you apply. If you have any problems, we'll make things work in the background, speak to a couple of people, get things going. If there are any errors, if you're having any delays, then I'll be able to, help you out with that. So admissions first, loan second. Right. Munyarazi Anthony is saying, what are the chances? Oh, hey, Munyarazi, how are you doing, man? What are the chances of one getting teaching assistantship or graduate research as assistantship? Roughly what percentage of the tuition can they cover? So that depends with the school. Because, and it also depends with your qualifications and, the nature of of your qualifications, right? So if you're those A+ students with a first class and you have incredible working experience, you've worked in economics for a very long time and you're applying for the econ program and they like you so much, then they will make you a graduate assistant. So unfortunately, there is no one size fits all when it comes to this. It just depends. It's a case by case situation. So, but I do know people that got a lot of graduate assistantships. So it's possible to get it. Roughly what percentage of the tuition can they cover? Roughly that it depends. You will see it in your offer, so it depends. All right, the next question. Hey Nigel, it's Albert. Can you please link me up with Tafara? Tafara is, if you're still on the call, people are asking for you, man. So I think just check him out on LinkedIn. Tafara Moyo from Notre Dame. Albert, just connect with him. Right, you can also put something.
It's okay.
Right. So Eziwe. All right, Eziwe. Sorry for pronouncing it wrong. How can we join the WhatsApp group application. Gilbert, thank you for sending the link. Just use that link, join the group. We're going to be sending a lot of updates, more invites. I'm going to be using that group chat. Are there any costs needed to us during the loan application? Loan covers tuition, living expenses, but what are out-of-the-pocket costs for someone with no scholarship for the whole process to finally settle in the US? All right, I think there are a lot of questions here. I know it's 4. I'll just go through the rest of the questions and then we call it a day. Are there any costs needed toward during the loan application? The first part of that question is no. Applying for the loan is free. You don't need to spend any money on that. Loan covers tuition and living expenses, but what are the out-of-pocket costs that someone with no scholarship for the whole process to finally settle in the US? That's a very important question. Great question, Colleen. Right. So you're going to need to, if you don't get an application fee waiver, you're going to need to pay for the application fee waiver. So that's a budget. An average application fee waiver is around $75. So you need to budget for that. Then after that, the next thing you need to pay money for, that's the visa process. So the visa process will probably take right around $530 just for the visa alone. Then you will need to also pay for the enrollment deposit. And that's a lot of money, right? That's around $2,000. That's the average standard. But the other universities that have like $500 deposit. The other universities that have like $1,000. And there are other universities that can waive that, right? So I know a couple of friends that came to my school this year actually. They got their enrollment deposits waived, but they don't usually waive them, but some universities can waive on a case-by-case basis. So I think that's just a breakdown of the costs. But that said, I know someone will be listening to me and be like, Nigel, $2,000 in Zimbabwe is not something I can afford. I don't have $100 in my pocket right now. I don't have that kind of money. Does that mean I will never come to the US? What I always advise people is first do things that don't need money. Once you do things that don't need money, I don't know if it's just faith or grace but somehow at the end of the day, the 2,000 will just be there. And the reason I say that is because at my current school, we helped out, I think currently we're about 17 Zimbabweans. 17 Zimbabweans who are already here, who are doing all this, they were able to pay that enrollment deposit. And I don't think it was because we have money. Like, we didn't have that money. But once you have gotten admission, it's easy to just go to someone and be like, hey man, look, I've gotten this amazing program. I've been admitted into this amazing school. I have this offer letter. I have this visa support letter. I have this funding secured. Everything is done. All I need is just $2,000 for you to loan me $2,000. When my loan comes, I'll be able to sort you out. That sort of thing. It has worked. It has worked for every one of us. So it's a big amount. I know it's a crazy amount, especially back home, but it's doable because we've done it. 16 people that at my school alone have done it. I have friends from Georgetown University, they've done it. Notre Dame people have done it. I have friends at Columbia University, they've done it. Others in Kajilion of other schools, American University, a lot of Zimbabweans as well, they've done it. So do what doesn't need money, and the money will take care of itself later on, trust me. When applying, they ask you to provide evidence of funding. Can I use your company? Can I use your company on applying, and they ask for proof of funding? Is this for the what do you mean? Evidence of funding when you are applying for the visa? I'm going to presume that it's visa. So for the visa, yes, you show proof of funding for from the loan company. So they will take care of that, right? So that's the proof of funding. And then, the admission scholarship percentage that you get, that's also proof of funding that you can use. Righteous answered the question and said PhD is free. Yes, that is true. For those that are willing to pursue PhD programs, not going this master's route, there is always funding for PhD programs. There are a lot of alternatives on PhDs. I'm not really an expert on PhDs, but if you are keen on PhDs and you want to pursue the PhD route, just reach out in the group chat. I'll connect you with people that have done PhDs and they've completed their PhDs, and they will give you all that information. Kudakwashe is saying, how best are my chances without GMAT? Are the application processes need blind? How best are my chances without GMAT? It depends with the program, and it depends with the school that you're applying for. If you have time and if you have the resources and the capability to write for the GRE, especially if you're targeting the MBA programs, of which, like I was saying, that's the most prominent program in the US. And if you're targeting big schools like Harvard or Stanford or most Ivy League schools, and you have working experience that's not that amazing, right? Use the GMAT and do well in that thing. It will give you a competitive advantage, right? But that said, all my friends here at George Washington, the 16, 17 that are already here, they don't have GMATs. So that's just to say your chances are very much good, even if you don't have a GMAT. Are the application processes need blind? Yes. They don't use need as a way of giving you admissions, but they will use need on need-based scholarship programs. And they are not at every university, but there are certain universities that have different type of scholarships. There are ones that have, I can't remember. I think Cornell had a need-based one, and a whole bunch of other ones, right? So there are need scholarships that say, okay, I'm from a low-income household, I'm from Zimbabwe, my annual income is that amount, and then, they will use that as a consideration for, giving you more funding. And then there are merit-based scholarships. They are based on merit, right? It doesn't matter if you're a millionaire. If you're good, you're good. They'll give you a full scholarship, right? So need-based, they are there for funding, but it's not need-based for admission. They're looking for the best and the brightest. Right, Vanessa is saying, do you have any schools that you can recommend considering someone is thinking of going for the loan option? I put in that document. I have recommendations. There are 19 schools that I put in on that document. Also, should reshare that in the group in case I shared it when we were not around. Does GW offer masters in financial engineering or financial and computational mathematics? Seem not to find it there. I don't think they have that type of particular program. So you may need to research into other universities, but it has amazing financial programs. They have a master's in finance, they have a master's in applied finance, and Gilbert is doing that. I know Gilbert was answering a couple of other questions. So Gilbert is doing the master's in applied finance. Because of time, maybe you can just reach out on the group and we can connect you with Gilbert, who's doing the program, and he can give program-specific tips if you're mostly on the finance side. And later on, like I said, we're also going to be inviting people who are already in the industry now. And I think Righteous, I saw him responding to a couple of messages. Righteous works in investment banking in Wall Street. So if that's something that you're into, you can definitely benefit from him. And we're going to be connecting with people that are in different industries as well. So that's the thing. Transcript evaluation course. Yeah, fantastic. Thanks for bringing that up. I had forgotten to talk about that. So in Zim, if you're from UZ, you're going to notice that or not UZ, I mean any small institution, we use 2-1 degree classes, right? So 2-1, 2-2, 3, upper second class. The US, they use GPAs. So when you use GPAs and when they use GPAs, they need you to convert your grades from the Zimbabwean standard to the American standard. And in order for them to do that, you need an independent evaluation agency to do that for you. And the one that I recommend, that I've used, the people that I've helped out, they use this organization called myiee.org. You can also use WES, WES, right? World Education. There's also an option that you can use. They do these evaluations, right? So I found that this IEE is probably the cheapest that I've seen so far. So you can see the costs are here. Just the document report is 80. The educational course is 165. And the translations are $60. So if you're doing the education, you will pay this one. But there are two different types of schools, right? So my school, George Washington University, they will need this evaluation as you're applying. So when you're starting out, they will require this. But other schools, they will allow you to apply without this already. Then they'll give you a place. But then when you then want to start the program, they'll then ask you for this. So that's an additional cost that you need to, account for. But thank you so much for that. How can I get the hold of the full recording? Don't worry, I will send a link later on when we're done. No, man, I don't have 100 right now. I can relate, man. I can relate. I'm from Zimbabwe, I know. But you be good. Is there by any chance one will get stuck in the US situation? One will get stuck in the US, a situation which is tough. I don't understand what you mean by that. Get stuck? I don't think anyone will get stuck. How do I calculate GPAs in Zimbabwe Open University transcript? You don't need to calculate it. IEE will do that for you. Does Empower Fund associate degrees? I know that Empower funds associate programs or diplomas in Canada. In the US, it's just for by associate, what do you mean? They fund undergraduate programs, but you need to be 2 years left to finish your program for them to fund you. So that means you need to be in the US already, but mostly they just fund masters. Even for CAT Solusi, they use GPA. They need that as well. Unfortunately, no, they'll still need it to be converted. The GPA is nice. I know AU also use GPAs, if I'm not mistaken. But you will need to get that converted as well. Because they are like, GPA nice, but we have the American GPA. So they need you to convert. I've seen GMAT request in the application process. How important are the scores in the application? And how do we go about it to get the scores? Right. So you just need to go on Google, search for it, and then you register for an exam. But how important are the scores in the application process? If you can write it and you have good scores, they will make you stand out. Right, especially if you're applying for programs where the GRE or the GMAT is required. Let's say you're applying for the MBA program at Stanford or at Chicago Booth or at Yale. They'll ask you for the GMAT. So if you have good scores in that GMAT, then it will help you stand out. Like they will see that, no, this guy is really good. So it will help you stand out. Even if it's not required, if you just put it there, it's an additional area of strength and it will help you stand out as well. So will it help you stand out? Certainly. Yeah, what was the other requests? how important are the scores in application? They're important, especially if you're looking for STEM programs and competitive business like programs like MBA, but it's not mandatory, so to say. You can get waivers. So just to help out anyone who's there and is like, I don't have a GMAT, I don't plan on writing it. Does that mean I won't get in? Like I said, 16 Zimbabweans that are in my school, they never used it. Now a whole bunch of other people. Associate degree in nursing in the US, 2 years. It leads to becoming a registered nurse. In the diploma, it's a diploma nurse. No, they don't. They don't. Right. So I think that's right about it. We have managed to answer a lot of questions for that you put in. So with next steps, so the next session that we're going to be doing, like I said, I'm going to be inviting people that are in the industry already. These are people working in different industries, and then we start to focus on employment. I know a lot of people were asking, if I don't get employment, what does that mean? And I know, like I always say, when you're coming here, you're doing a master's degree, but technically speaking, you're coming here for work, right? A master's program is the gateway for employment, right? And you're putting your career ahead. So for those that are here and, they want to know how people did it, there are a lot of successful Zimbabweans, right, that are already here, that have done it before. They will be here to teach you and just give tips on how they did it. I know that information is power. Once you get information, I wish 4 years ago when I was starting out, I knew these things. I wish I knew these things. There are agents charging thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for you to get this opportunity. So what I can say is leverage it and leverage it now. Don't wait and say, okay, I'll do it next year in 5 years. What if Empower Financing works up and they've closed shop? Affording $100,000 from Zimbabwe, that'll probably be nearest to impossible. Unless if you're super rich. I know there are a lot of wealthy people. And then I have other people that have asked me, like, Nigel, I'm 40 years old. Should I come? This has no age, all right? Like, Nigel, I have a family. I have kids and a wife, or I have a husband and kids. Do I still need to come? Most certainly come. The opportunity is there, right? So especially if you have a lot of working experience, right? So there are other industries, for example, consulting and investment banking and finance in different industries and even the tech space. The starting salary would probably, there are certain, I'm not saying everyone will get that much, but there are a whole lot of places where the starting salary is 200,000 a year, right? I don't know if I've met people who on the call, but 200,000 a year divided by 12 months, that's 16,600 gross salary every single month that you should be getting. And I'm not talking about bonuses. In other financial industries, the bonuses are like 100% of your annual. So if your annual is 200,000, your bonus is going to be 200,000. And these are like unique places like investment banking, finance, but that's a lot of money, right? So imagine having $200,000 in your account. Incredible opportunity. You can't seem to miss this because it's a really beneficial opportunity. That's why when someone asks me and they're like, okay, Nigel, why should I take a loan, man? Like, I'm taking $80,000, $100,000 worth of loan. If that $100,000 worth of loan is giving you an opportunity to make $100,000 in bonuses, I'll take it any time of the year. because that's an investment in your life. This is not just a loan that you're taking. It's an investment. Because paying back the loan is easy. You can, I mean, if you take 80,000, you get 100,000 bonus, you can pay off that $80,000 and you're done in 1 year. But a lot of people, they'll probably just say, no, it's fine. Let me use that 100,000 to invest or probably get a house, start renting it for Airbnb, get the return, still service the loan for 1,000. Airbnb will start to bring me more investment. I'll make more money. There are some of the things that you can do. So for those that have families, and have kids, and you're thinking, all right, are they allowed to come? Yes, they're allowed to come. They'll come in as F2 dependencies. But if they're coming as F2 dependencies, you will need to show additional proof. I think $10,000 per person for each dependent that you're bringing on board. And your dependents will not be allowed to work. So that means if you're coming with your wife, if you're coming with your husband, they will not be allowed to work during that time because they're saying they're still F2 dependents. They don't have authorizations to work. Education, if you have kids, education in the US is free. If it's public education, that means your kids just come here, they wear their uniforms and they're off to school. So here are some of the benefits. You don't need to pressure yourself with, paying for your school fees. But yeah, I think all in all, this was just a quick and a super concise way of describing the process. And I hope you've all benefited from the information. And later on, what we're gonna do is, if you want tailor-made attention to a case-by-case basis, I'm gonna be connecting you with a couple of people, but we'll see how it goes so that we can incentivize people, because I feel it may be kind of unfair for me to just say, hey, Gilbert, start doing this, and then Gilbert has to leave his classes and give 100% attention to someone, and without really incentivizing him. So we're still thinking about that and how we can structure that. But all I can say is the help is there. We are here to help. We're here to help each other so that, we can make an impact here and back home. I always say that, we are the next generation that's going to change the situation back home. We can't be complaining all the time about Zim in Africa. It's our responsibility. It's on us to build the next generation. And this is where it starts, right? So yeah, pretty much that's it for me. I don't know if anyone has any final questions that I can answer. You can unmute yourself. But I think that's pretty much it from me today. I'm going to be sending another link soon once I've confirmed the times and the dates with the different professionals, and they'll come and talk to you.
Hi, Nigel.
Hello.
You did mention about getting work experience here. How does it work for someone who wants to immediately leave after doing their undergrad? Is it possible? And what makes me outstanding to get a place there? Do I need to be doing internships? Do I need to be doing volunteering work? Do I need to work on projects? What makes me outstanding so that I can immediately come there? And then also I wanted to ask about the term semesters and how, like, when we should start applying, like when do the semesters start and when are we required to start applying before the semester starts?
All right, fantastic question. Right, so I'll start with the last question. We should be applying now. So unfortunately, we started doing these things after the processes have started. I know for January, the deadline for my school is the 1st of November. For those that are coming that want January, but most schools, they take on a rolling basis. So it means they'll still keep accepting applications. So for January, time is a little bit past, but you can still do it. Last minute moves. I know if you're like me, I don't take 9 months. Like those that are students, that deadline mode will get, you can do assignments on the last day, but you can probably do that now, right? But for those that are starting in fall, so the US has mostly 2 intakes. There's what they call the spring intake, and spring starts in January. That's when you start your classes in January. So applications, they start in August, July, thereabout, depends with the school. And then there is the fall intake, which is the main one, right? So you see that most MBAs, especially for those that have a lot of working experience and they're going for the MBAs, the round 1 starts in January and it ends right around this time. But make sure that you have your application sent by round 2, because that's when scholarship deadlines are. And round 2 usually ends by end of January. So if you're looking at August, you're like, okay, I need more time to do it and whatnot. Send your application now and send it early so that you get your grade ahead of time. There are certain situations when you are competing with these really, really smart people from all parts of the world. Specific countries, but there are a lot of smart people out there and they want your place. So if you wait until February or in the 3rd round, those smartest people, they've already taken your place and they've taken all the scholarships, right? Because universities budget. They are like, okay, this year we're going to be giving out 100,000 worth of scholarships. So if you come in later on in the 3rd round, the class is already full, the scholarships have already been taken, so you might as well just do it now. So right now, applications are open for every university. So start sending your application. Once you have it sorted, they usually take about 2 months, depends, 3 months, depends with the school. You can just check each website, they'll take decision. So once you get your decision, you're all set. Then you can connect with us, you get your loan going, and you'll be set. Then to answer your question on someone who's coming out of grad school, of undergrad, Tendai, unfortunately he's not here. Tendai graduated with his bachelor's in economics. When? This year? Yeah. If he was in the last graduating class of at the University of Zimbabwe. He has never been to work. I was teasing him, and laughing at him that his CV is just his name and his degree, and there's nothing else to show besides that. Yeah, he's studying. So if you get a place, if you the application that you put in, right? So if you don't have working experience, compensate on other things. Send in a competitive essay that when they read this, they're like, oh my gosh, we need this person right now. They need to join our program because this person is incredible. So you can easily get in straight out of undergrad. But there are certain programs that can be a bit difficult to get into, especially when you're coming out of undergrad, like the MBA program. So the MBA program, they may want a minimum of 2 years working experience. And but in all other programs, like the technical program, data analytics, etc., they will take you even straight out of college. So you have an equal chance of getting into the program, but just make sure that your application is competitive. And those recommendation letters that I talked about earlier, make sure that they're competitive as well to help you stand out. All right. Right, so I think we're done. There's Nigel, you talked about essays. Can you send a sample of the essay or structure they want? I will, there's no particular structure, to be frank. Each school will tell you what they want, right? It's be as innovative as possible. The reason why I usually don't want to send my essays to people is not because I don't want to send, because I'll kind of, confine you to my approach and to my way of executing, right? So if you can be really innovative and, have a different approach that will make you stand out, use that, right? Use that and use it to your advantage, right? If you do want a review of your essay after you are done. We are working on a platform to have the opportunity to get a chance to review essays for people and to help out with these particular things. But that's something that we are currently working on. I'll tell you when it's ready. But be as innovative as possible and be as you as possible. But if by any chance you're like, no, man, I really need to see, I'll probably send a couple of the essays that got admissions in the group, and you can just take a look at them. But I'm not saying use that as your Bible. Just be you. So that would be a way of giving perspective. All right, awesome. I think that's pretty much it from me. Thank you so much for joining. I'll be sending in another link once I get the dates confirmed with those different people that we'll be having on board. I also speak with some people from Empower Financing. They'll be more than happy to come on board and answer Empower, technically specific Empower questions. They'll just supplement on what I would have talked about. But
Hi, Nigel.
Yes.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask, you know how you can get work experience before you attain your degree? How feasible is that on the resume? Like, can I put that like to have say I have work experience, although I had not attained my degree? For example, my degree I attained in 2020, but I started working like 2017 as like an assistant or whatever in the accounting field. But then I attained my degree around 2020. Can I use that on my resume? Do they consider that?
Yes, you can. I think in the next coming days, probably in the WhatsApp group, I will post the best structure to use for a resume. Right. If we had more time, I think it's like we've gone a little bit beyond, but I would have wanted to share important tips on your resume. But put all the experience you have. Put all those. If you have bragging rights, this time you have bragging rights, right? In your essays and your resume, brag. Tell about those, but your resume needs to be achievement centric. Like, how do you make a difference? What are the achievements? What helps you stand out? So those are the things that you need to focus on. And if you did a campaign and you innovated something and you did this really amazing thing that's commendable and made an incredible impact, talk about those things. Like in the US, I don't want to use the word humble or bragging, but sometimes I'm not saying be proud, right? But talk about what you've done, right? I think as we're talking more on getting employment and whatnot in the next session, I'll talk about that. It's a really important thing. Talk about those achievements that you've done, right? If you increased the sales revenue by 30% at a company, talk about that, right? If you're a manager at a company and you were leading 10 employees, and for the first time, the company achieved its monthly targets when you're running things. Talk about that. Don't come into the resume and be like leading 5 people in banking sector. I was responsible for filing and sending in sales reports. That's not impactful. Talk about the impact, right? The achievements. Brag, because your CV, if it's highlighting achievements, it will help you stand out, right? So whether you graduated in 2020 and has been working since 1998, talk about those impacts that you've made in those different places. I would say it's even an advantage if you have more working experience, because that will help you stand out since they want more working experience. Yeah.
Yes, Nigel.
Yes.
If I may ask on, If I may ask on one sensitive issue,
Yes.
I'm in the police service right here in Zimbabwe. With the guidelines you may know in the US, how can you relate it in terms of those things like counterterrorism? There's some kind of secret systems in their country, because that's the background of my career right now. But I
Right.
mean, I haven't.
All right.
Yes, you can go on.
All right, I understand. All right, so on that particular question, I don't think I am really experienced or well informed, to be frank, when it comes to things like and the security aspects of things. But I don't consider, this is just my personal perspective. Don't quote me on this. Just do more research into it. But being a policeman and working in the security forces, it does not mean you are there to cause trouble, right? You are here to learn, and that's what you are here for. And if you emphasize on that, I feel like a lot of people will feel that will understand, because it doesn't necessarily mean that if you're in the security forces, it means you are there to cause trouble. If you want more information on sensitivity on that, I think just research more. If there are any webinars from admissions, you can then, ask that question. But trust me, I don't think that should limit you. Don't be like, no, I was in the police, so that means I'm not allowed to apply because of reason A, B, C, D. Just apply. If you want to come and learn data science, then come and learn data science, right? If you want to learn business, come and learn business, right? The whole reason that we are here is because we want to get knowledge, right? If we get knowledge and if we learn, then mission accomplished. But I don't think this is actually a unique case to you. I've not had that question before, so I'm not really experienced enough in that field. But what I know is just apply. Just apply. Don't self-deny. Don't not apply because of that. Right? Just do it. Like what Nike says, just do it. Right. All right.
Hi, Joe.
Oh, hey.
Hi. I wanted to ask, I'm happy that you said that someone who can assist with a PhD. I want to find out if it's easier to go via PhD or easier to go via master's. But I am someone who is willing to redo a master's. I don't mind. So I guess I would then need the connection from the PhD person that you said, so that I can be able to know which route would be easier.
All right. I mean, for sure. I mean, I'll connect you on that. Yeah, but I mean, which one is easier? I mean, I'm a whole master. I mean, I've been, helping, people come for masters, and I'm doing my masters. So I'll naturally gravitate towards the master's route, but that's just me, right? That's why I want to have other people who are also experts in different fields. But from just the general outlook of things, this master's opportunity is the easiest. You just apply, simple. You get admission, you apply for the loan, and you're done, you're coming. For the PhD, I know you will need to have those proposals, right? You find a supervisor, you find a topic, get approval, then you start. So, master's.
Yeah,
but definitely, if you want a PhD, definitely. Right.
All right.
All right.
Hi, Nigel.
Oh, hey.
Okay. I wanted to ask, let's say I've managed to secure a place, right, for admissions, and then I get the money from Empower, deposited in my student like account to the university.
Huh?
How long does it take for me to get money so that I can settle in, or I'll need to have my own savings
All right.
so
So,
as to settle before I get money?
all right, fantastic. So your loan is spread approximately, you probably get your living expenses money approximately 2 weeks after your start date. So my school start date in the fall is usually the 29th of August. So we usually expect our monies by the 11th of September. So 2 weeks. So what that means, that's actually a very important point that you just brought up, because you will need to budget for the first couple of weeks before your money comes, right? Because if you don't have anyone in the city that you're going to, you probably need to be in an Airbnb, right? Or be in a hotel room the first 2 weeks. But your money will come 2 weeks after. So that's when you get your money, though it will be dispersed by the 29th of August. But there's this whole processing period that schools usually have. For my school in particular, it's 2 weeks. But that's not the one size fits all. I've heard of other schools. I don't know if then different people from other schools that I hear. For some schools, it's actually earlier, right? But for GW specifically, it's 2 weeks. All right.
So approximately how much do I need like to save? Let's say I'm gonna be staying in a B&B for 2 weeks.
It depends really. I think for some of these things, you can definitely check out the Airbnb website, because it depends with how much board and room you choose. Yeah, Airbnb is for like $30 a night, $25. Then the Airbnb is for $300 a night. So you can see that it depends, right? So it's a case by case situation, and it also depends with what type of person you are. Some people will $400 or even less. Someone will not even spend a cent. Especially if you have friends here. I've been happy to host my friends that are coming from Zim, my place, so they don't really end up spending money, right? So if you have relatives and friends in the area that you're going to can take you in for those first 2 weeks, that's convenient, right? Yeah. All right, guys, thank you so much. I have to go and watch an NBA game in the next few hours, so I have to prepare and go. For those that like NBA, you're gonna have fun in the US. And I think, yeah. One last thing. I know that, we've been talking about the serious stuff, right? We've been talking about sending in applications, work, and all this. The US is a really fantastic place to be, right? It's really nice, right? You get to explore a different life far beyond what you've experienced before, right? And you see that a lot of things here are functional. The transport system is amazing. Just there's a lot of things to do. Like right now, I'm gonna be going for the NBA game. Just watch a little bit of basketball. If I want to go and see American football, baseball, if you're a sports person, there's a lot of things you can do from the sports side of things. I'm a Christian, like I'm a believing Christian. There are a lot of religious activities to do as well. Like I go to church on Sunday. I have other Christian activities that I do over the weekend and sometimes during the week. So there is everything for everybody, right? So once you come here, there's a whole lot of things that you can do. I remember the time like last year I was in the White House. I went there in the White House. Just going through these doors, just going around. It's a lifetime experience that's just interesting. Things that we've been seeing on TV. I spent a lot of time in New York, with family in New York, in Chicago. There's just a lot to do. So as you are applying, I know you're here for careers, but trust me, it's going to be such an incredible living experience that will give you a different perspective to life. And I know you're going to love it. I've been enjoying it. I know sometimes you hear things on TV that are really negative, but I think once you're on the ground, you will get to see that sometimes it's not like, right? I've not really experienced anything negative as of now. I know other people have. That is fine, but to me, I've loved it. I've enjoyed it. I've not really experienced racism that I can feel to say, no, I felt racism here, right? I've not experienced that. Things have been incredible, and I think it's by the grace of God that this has been such a fantastic living and learning experience. So for those that are up for the task, apply, come and learn, come and expand, give back home, improve yourself. It's worth it. I've not regretted, and I don't think you will. So those are just my parting words. Thank you for joining. Appreciate all of you. I will send in the recording in the group chat. Also feel free to send to those that were not able to join. I know network can be such a challenge in Zoom back home, and internet can also be a challenge, and power. So feel free to share the link in the group so that others can benefit as well. So yeah, awesome. Take care. Have a great Saturday evening. Bye.
Thank you.